if Ousmane can finish what he starts, he will be one, if not the best player in the world. And that's what he's doing only now. When you look at what he's been doing since 2025, he's on top and he's on a run to win the treble.
They called him a €145 million failure at Barcelona, a winger whose finishing let him down when it mattered most. But in the 2024-25 season, Ousmane Dembélé silenced his critics with a transformation so dramatic it defies belief. 29 goals in just 36 appearances across all competitions for Paris Saint-Germain. The player once mocked for his wayward shooting now stands among Europe's most clinical finishers. What caused this metamorphosis? The answer reveals something profound about talent development that most pundits miss entirely. To truly understand Dembélé isn't to see him as either boom or bust. It's to recognize that genius often requires the right environment to fully express itself. In the youth academies of France, a skinny teenager was turning heads with his bewildering dribbling ability. At Rennes, Dembélé wasn't just another prospect, he was something different. With 13 goals in 18 appearances for their reserve team in 2014-15, his raw talent demanded attention. There was no containing him in training, former teammates would later recall. He played with the unburdened joy of a child in the playground, but with skills that made seasoned professionals look foolish. That joy translated into tangible production when he stepped up to Rennes' first team, netting 12 goals in 26 Ligue 1 appearances during the 2015-16 campaign. It wasn't just the numbers, it was how he achieved them, with a carefree exuberance that made football look effortless. The world was noticing. And in Germany, Borussia Dortmund's renowned talent spotters had seen enough. May 2016 marked the first major turning point in Dembélé's career trajectory, signing a 5-year contract with Borussia Dortmund. The yellow wall of Signal Iduna Park became the perfect canvas for his artistic expression. In Dortmund's system, Dembélé's unique abilities were amplified. His 6 goals and 12 assists across 32 Bundesliga appearances only tell part of the story. What the statistics don't capture is how he terrorized defenders with his unpredictable movement and ambidextrous technique. The crowning achievement came in the 2017 DFB Pokal final against Eintracht Frankfurt. Not only did Dembélé score the opening goal, but his electrifying performance earned him man of the match honors as Dortmund lifted the trophy. This wasn't just a player with potential, this was a star who delivered on the biggest stage. Little did anyone know that this triumphant moment would be followed by the most challenging chapter of his career. August 2017. As Neymar departed Barcelona for PSG in a world record transfer, the Catalan giants turned to Dembélé as their €105 million replacement, with €40 million in variables. The third most expensive transfer in football history brought with it a weight of expectation few 20-year-olds could bear. What followed was a study in how quickly fortune can turn in football. Just weeks into his Barcelona career, disaster struck, a hamstring injury that sidelined him for 4 months. This began a devastating pattern. Over 6 seasons at Camp Nou, Dembélé's body betrayed him repeatedly. Another muscle injury, 4 weeks, a hamstring tear, 6 months, knee problems, 2 months, and persistent muscle fatigue. Between injuries, there were flashes of the magical player Barcelona thought they had signed, moments of brilliance that kept hope alive. His overall record at the club, 24 goals in 127 La Liga appearances, speaks to a talent unfulfilled, yet he still contributed to multiple trophy wins. 3 La Liga titles, 2017-18, 2018-19, 2022-23, and 2 Copa del Rey triumphs. But the narrative had shifted. The wonder kid had become the injury-prone disappointment, the expensive gamble that hadn't paid off. The joy that had defined his early career seemed buried beneath medical reports and criticism. As the 2022-23 season drew to a close, both Dembélé and Barcelona appeared ready for a change. A return to France beckoned. When Paris Saint-Germain activated Dembélé's €50 million release clause in August 2023, few predicted what would follow. This wasn't just a homecoming to French football. It became the setting for one of football's most remarkable redemption stories, a resurrection that would stun even his harshest critics. The initial season in Paris offered promising signs as Dembélé contributed to PSG's impressive domestic treble, Ligue 1, Coupe de France, and Trophée des Champions. Though his 3 goals in 26 Ligue 1 appearances seemed modest, those watching closely noticed something changing in his movements, his confidence, his smile returning after years of pressure. This was merely the prelude to something extraordinary. The 2024-25 campaign has witnessed Dembélé's spectacular renaissance in full bloom. The statistics alone tell a compelling story. 20 goals in just 23 Ligue 1 matches, 7 goals in 10 Champions League appearances, combined with 11 assists across all competitions. But numbers only capture part of the transformation. The eye test reveals something far more profound, the return of unbridled joy to his game, that same carefree expression that first captivated scouts at Rennes nearly a decade earlier. January 2025 became the watershed moment of this metamorphosis. On a frost-bitten Parisian night at Parc des Princes, Dembélé achieved what no player in PSG's storied history had managed before: consecutive hat-tricks. As the third goal hit the net, the stadium erupted and the camera caught something telling. Dembélé, eyes closed, arms outstretched, basking in a moment of pure vindication. The player once derided for wasteful finishing had become ruthlessly efficient. The winger once labelled fragile, now physically dominant. What catalyzed this extraordinary change? The tactical approach at PSG deserves significant credit. Unlike Barcelona's rigid positional play that often seemed to constrain his instinctive genius, PSG deployed what their coaching staff terms programmed spontaneity, structured attacking patterns that deliberately create decision-making moments for individual brilliance to flourish. Within this framework, Dembélé rediscovered his footballing essence. The heat maps don't lie, tactical analysts have noted in their deep dives of his performances. He's occupying entirely different zones now, receiving the ball in positions where his combination of acceleration and technique creates maximum damage. At Barcelona, he was often isolated wide. At PSG, he's given freedom to roam into half spaces, where his dual-footedness becomes truly undefendable. Beyond tactics, perhaps the most crucial element in Dembélé's resurrection has been psychological liberation. In Paris, he was no longer burdened as the expensive replacement for a club legend. The €50 million fee, less than half what Barcelona paid, removed the financial albatross that had hung around his neck for years. For the first time since his Dortmund days, Dembélé was valued simply for who he was, not punished for who he wasn't. The Ousmane Dembélé of 2025 is a revelation, not simply a return to his earlier promise, but an evolution into something far more complete. Where once stood a raw, inconsistent talent, now stands a fully realized footballing force. The youthful exuberance that captivated fans at Rennes and Dortmund remains intact, but it's now channeled through the wisdom earned through adversity. The technical brilliance hasn't diminished with age or injury. Rather, it's been refined and now deployed with tactical sophistication and clinical purpose. Watch him closely during matches now. You'll notice subtle differences that separate the complete Dembélé from his earlier iterations. The head is up earlier when dribbling, scanning for options. The decision-making, once his greatest weakness, has transformed into a strength. The defensive work rate, once criticized as lacking, now sees him tracking back with the same intensity he attacks. Most tellingly, the body language has changed. Gone is the frustrated figure of Camp Nou, replaced by a player radiating confidence in every movement. His international career with France perfectly mirrors this evolution. From a talented but peripheral squad member in France's 2018 World Cup victory, to a key figure in their 2022 World Cup final run against Argentina and subsequent Euro campaigns, Dembélé's 55 caps and 7 goals reflect his growth on the global stage. French manager Didier Deschamps, once cautious about Dembélé's reliability, now builds attacking strategies with him as a centerpiece. What makes his redemption story particularly compelling is how it defies our typical narratives about prodigies. the football landscape is littered with cautionary tales of wonder kids who crumbled under the burden of expectation, their careers becoming footnotes of unfulfilled potential. Players who experienced the intense scrutiny and disappointment that Dembélé faced at Barcelona rarely recover their trajectory. They fade away, become journeymen, or settle into careers of mediocrity. Dembélé refused to follow that script. Perhaps most remarkably, he's achieved this transformation without sacrificing the unpredictability that makes him special. While many players become more conservative after setbacks, Dembélé has maintained his willingness to attempt the extraordinary. The difference now is that it succeeds more often than not. The audacious dribbles, the no-look passes, the shots from impossible angles, these haven't disappeared. They've been perfected. The player once labeled an expensive mistake, a cautionary tale in football economics, has completely rewritten his story through resilience and adaptation. His resurgence offers a powerful lesson about talent development in modern football. That genius cannot be force-fitted into predetermined tactical molds, but must be given the space, support, and patience to find its authentic expression. Ousmane Dembélé's journey from wonder kid to wounded star to reborn champion embodies football's capacity for redemption. His spectacular 2024-25 season with PSG isn't just a statistical outlier, it's the culmination of a personal and professional transformation years in the making. For a generation of young players facing their own struggles with expectation, injury, or form, Dembélé's resurrection offers a blueprint for resilience. His story teaches us that careers aren't defined by their lowest moments, but by the courage to rise beyond them. The lightning-quick winger from Évreux has transformed from cautionary tale to inspiration. And at 28, with his best years potentially still ahead, the final chapters of Ousmane Dembélé's remarkable story remain unwritten. What's certain is this: in the unforgiving world of elite football, where yesterday's prodigy often becomes tomorrow's footnote, Dembélé has done something extraordinary. He's given himself a second act, and in doing so, he's reminded us why we fall in love with the beautiful game in the first place.